The Mavericks take on the Knicks, 7:30 Eastern tip-off on Wednesday, April 6, 2022. The Mavs are the 9-point favorite with the total at 220 even. And following a tough day of personal bets on BrockPage.com yesterday, we did still improve to 3-0 in our last three extra daily bets on that website. And if you want to access today's extra daily bet, the link for that play is in the description section below. We're also 5-1 in our last six board member tier package bets on that very same website. And the link for today's board member tier package bet is also in the description section below. Now I'm going to give out some more information about that website at the end of the video and why it's important to be signed up to it if you follow me here on YouTube. I'd certainly hate to see you miss out on some really good content over there on my webpage. But as far as this game is concerned, it's actually Dallas who is currently in fourth place in the West. And they find themselves just one game behind Golden State for that number 3 seed right now. Now the Mavs have played some pretty good basketball over the past couple of weeks or so. They got the W in 6 out of their last 8 ball games, and they failed to cover only 2 times during that stretch. Now, Dallas has played some consistently good defense throughout the entire season. They're currently in the top 5 in guarding the 3 ball, and they're allowing only 104 points a game. Now, offensively, Luka Doncic is averaging over 28 points a night, along with 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson, he's scoring over 16 points a game himself, along with 3 rebounds, 4 assists as well. They're taking on a Detroit squad who scores just 104 points a game themselves. They're making only 32% of their three-pointers. No surprise here, the Pistons also find themselves in the bottom 3 in the NBA in shooting from the field. Now, injury-wise, Joseph, Olynyk, Magruder, and Bagley, they're all listed as out. Meanwhile, Cade Cunningham, he is listed as questionable to play. Meanwhile, for Dallas on the other side of things, Maxi Kleber is out with an ankle injury. Now, total-wise, Dallas saw unders recently against the likes of Utah, Minnesota, and Houston. They also held the Pistons to just 101 points a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings. Meanwhile, Detroit on the other side is 22-17 to the under in the Little Caesars Arena. I'm going to lean toward Dallas -9 in the under 220. Next ball game, it is going to be Nets versus the Knicks, 7:30 p.m. East. Brooklyn's -7 with a total at 231. Now, Brooklyn's got a spot in that play-in tourney locked up, so I wouldn't particularly look for much effort out of these guys to close out the year. They already failed to cover in their last 5 straight, and they've struggled a bit on the defensive end of the court as well this season. The Nets are currently in the bottom 10 in points allowed per contest. Now, they're taking on a Knicks team who, on the other side, they got the W. In some games. Not a lot of W's, but they did get the W in, some games this year. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to lean toward New York +7 over 231. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Celtics versus the Bulls, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Boston's -7, totals 223. Now, the Celtics failed to cover in 2 out of their last 3 ball games, and they've also struggled offensively early in games this year. Boston currently ranks in the bottom 10 in both first and second quarter scoring. Definitely slow starters. Now, they're taking on a Bulls team who's actually amongst the league's more prolific scoring teams, as they do a real nice job shooting the basketball. Chicago's currently in the top 5 in home offensive three-point percentage. They're also in the top 3 in shooting from the field at home as well. DeMar DeRozan's averaging over 28 points a night, along with 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Meanwhile, Nikola Vucevic is grabbing over 11 rebounds a game himself. He's also scoring 17 points per contest. And speaking of rebounds, the Bulls are currently in the top 10 in defensive boards per contest. Now, injury-wise, Thomas is questionable. Zach LaVine's also banged up with a sore knee. Meanwhile, for Boston on the other side, Tatum, Brown, and Horford are questionable. Stauskas is out. Now, total-wise, Boston went 8-1 to the over in their last 9 ball games. Meanwhile, Chicago saw their last 3 straight get over the line themselves, 22-17 to the over in the United Center. I'm going to lean towards Chicago plus 7, keeping this one close, in the over 223. Next ball game, it is going to be Wizards versus the Hawks, 8 o'clock East. Atlanta's minus 11, totals 231.5. The Hawks are a shoo-in for the play-in tourney, so I wouldn't look for max effort out of these guys here this evening. They're already coming fresh off a double-digit loss to Toronto just last night. And in addition to that, they're still going to work without the efforts of John Collins. Now, Atlanta's biggest issue has been their defensive play this year, or lack thereof, depending on how you look at it. They're currently in the bottom 10 in points allowed per contest. They're also having a tough time defending the 3-ball. Now, they're taking on a Washington team on the other side of things, who actually got the W in 5 out of their last 7. They failed to cover the point spread only 2 times during that span. When it comes to offensive production in this one, the Wizards actually have done a pretty nice job shooting the basketball. Washington's currently in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage this season. They're also amongst the better free throw shooting teams in the Eastern Conference on the road. Now, scoring-wise, when it comes to offensive performance, Kristaps Porzingis is averaging over 21.5 points a game for the Wizards, 8 rebounds, couple assists in the nation's capital. Meanwhile, KCP is scoring over 13 points a game himself, along with 3 boards. And speaking of offensive production, the Wizards are in the top 10 in the association in fourth quarter scoring. Now, injury-wise, Kuzma's out, Carey's questionable. Meanwhile, for Atlanta on the other side, once again, Collins is still out. Gallinari is questionable for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Atlanta went 4-2 to the over in their last 6 ball games. They're also 23-17 to the over at the State Farm Arena. Meanwhile, Washington on the other side, they saw their last 4 straight get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Washington plus 11, keeping this one close, in the over 231.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Thunder versus the Jazz, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Utah's minus 17, totals 222.5. But despite being the clear-cut favorite to win this one here today, the Jazz have actually been horrible against the point spread here over the past couple of weeks. Utah failed to cover in their last 8 straight, and they do give up the majority of their points in the fourth quarter. And speaking of giving up points, the Jazz gave up 115 points a game in their last 8 contests. They're taking on a Thunder team who won their last 2 straight themselves, and to be honest with you, they've done nothing but cover point spreads over the past month or so. OKC, they failed to cover only 3 times since March 9th. And they actually posted a record of 10-3 against the spread during that time frame. And speaking of covering the number, OKC's also gone 27-11 against the spread on the road this year. And that's good for over 71% in that category. So even though their record and their stats don't indicate a good basketball team, these guys have done their fair share of covering the number. Now, total-wise, OKC saw their last 3 straight fall under the line. They're also 21-17 to the under in their road games. Meanwhile, Utah on the other side, they averaged only 103 points per contest in their last 10 meetings with Oklahoma City. The Jazz also went 8-2 to the under in those 10 head-to-head meetings with OKC as well. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. I'm going to lean toward Oklahoma City plus 17 and the under 222.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Suns versus the Clippers, 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Phoenix is minus 3, totals 229.5. And even though Phoenix has that number 1 seed locked up, they certainly haven't throttled down at all. They lost only 3 times since March 6th. They posted a record of 12-3 straight up during that time frame. Now, scoring-wise, the Suns are in the top 5 in offensive points per game. They currently lead the entire NBA in shooting from the field. Devin Booker's averaging over 26.5 points per contest, along with 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Meanwhile, DeAndre Ayton scoring 17 points a game himself. He's also averaging double-digit rebounds. When it comes to defensive play in this one, the Suns are leading the entire NBA in defending the 3-ball. They're taking on a Clipper team who lost 6 out of their last 9 themselves. They successfully covered the point spread only 3 times during that stretch. And for a team who's going to make the play-in tourney, these guys have been pretty bad rebounding the basketball this season. LA's currently in the bottom 10 in offensive boards, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding as well. Now, injury-wise, Boston is questionable. Preston and Powell are still out indefinitely. Meanwhile, for Phoenix on the other side, they're mostly healthy for the exception of Kaminsky and Sarge still. Now, total-wise, Phoenix held Los Angeles to just 101 points a game in their last 10 meetings. The Suns also saw 4 out of their last 5 contests this season fall under the line. Meanwhile, the Clippers on the other side, they saw unders recently with the likes of New Orleans, Utah, and Detroit. I'm going to lean toward Phoenix -3. And the under 229.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. Now, you guys might be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on my YouTube channel and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on brockpage.com is I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. Now, guys, if you end up getting a membership here today on brockpage.com, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on my website, you're going to get access to that membership every single day all the way through the end of April. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single package that I offer on that website, there's a way you can do that. And that's to sign up for my board member tier package. Now, not only do board members get access to the board member tier pick itself, you're actually going to get access to every single bet that I give out on that website all the way through the end of April. It's an all-inclusive package, and it's certainly the best membership that I offer on that website. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.